Hello?
Oh, there we go. Oh, I thought it was just going to be a one-on-one on the actual Discord.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, both works, right?
Yeah, we're good here. Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. I was just wondering why the Russian in the in the item
Oh, you
description.
actually played the actual song. Those are the lyrics to that song, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're mealing. Oh,
Hey, there we go. There we go, dude. Let's show our support for Bernie Sanders. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Wait, so how do I refer you? Like Scardor or your real name?
I mean, if you think you can pronounce it, you can try.
Uh,
So Scardor's
you
fine.
know,
Yeah.
let's go with Scardor, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, dude? So, yeah, so where do we begin?
Where do we begin? We begin with you. Just a little bit of background. So,
Okay, so,
how do you play?
how do I play? I like to fucking kill bosses, is what I like to do.
That's why you were a dual blader, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been like a very big dual blader, but like, you know, back in like 10 years ago when I was playing like the dual blade, like, because I had a strict Asian family, so you could only play like 1 hour a day, so
Okay.
you couldn't actually like never get anything done, right?
Nope.
So, yeah, no, I just have to stand afar and look at people actually play the game while I can only wish to be like them.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's sad times, but hey. But now,
So now you live
yeah,
on your own. You play the healthy 14 hours a day.
oh, of course, dude. I mean, it's quarantine, summer break. It's pretty much what all I do. I mean, I grind out all my dailies and then maybe something else. And then, sometimes I play League, and other times I, play more Maple Story and just grind. Like, I've came back maybe like a month ago. Before then, I had my main was like the Wind Archer, like a Wind Archer that's like level 180. That's like rocking full Silent Crusade gear.
Wait, you could even
So
do. Wait, oh, the special accessories and everything, the purple things.
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, so I think last time I played, Blackgate was still a thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So that was like quite a while ago. Maybe like four or 5 years ago. I don't know.
So a while ago. Is her name like Fat Cheese or something?
Fat cheese.
Gordo.
No, it's fat sausage.
Oh, sausage.
It's
Okay.
it's in Spanish.
Nice.
Except
Okay.
I think I'm fucked up the adjective wise. I think the adjective should be in
Yeah,
should be
chorizo gordo. Yeah, that should be at the
Yeah,
end. I think.
yeah.
Well, nobody fucking knows, dude. Who speaks Spanish?
Hey, it's okay. Hey, true.
Well, except
But yeah,
for
no,
Masahiro in the chat.
so pretty much I've been back for like a month because of the quarantine, and then I've been playing because I always thought that Maple Story itself had like a pretty big paywall, or like in terms of like the reboot. The last time I stopped playing was just because I couldn't kill Hard Healer, obviously with like the Sonic Crusade gear, and then I didn't want to spend money to buy a pet. So it was like the looting itself was just like garbage.
Yup.
So I just like ended up quitting. But now that I'm back, it's just like with the Terra burning and like the fake CRA gear helped me progress a lot farther.
Sure.
In the beginning, I was just looking just to like party, like CRA.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting a lot farther. Like I'm able to solo 3 doors right now, and then I'm working on what's it called? I'm working on the
Vellum?
Chaos, yeah, Vellum. Even though I have like pretty low boss damage, 135 and ignore ID 65, but dual blade cheat class, so
Yep.
I have that big ass IED bonuses on my actual abilities.
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you're at right now. And like computer-wise,
I do have 2, but I don't know if I'm gonna get that intensive. Actually, like, what would you do with like another PC? It's just like a con or something?
pretty much, yeah. Kishin to help you grow your legion, so you don't have to rely on totems when you're training legion characters. So you can keep your totems to train on your main, basically.
I see. Okay.
It's like the big
I mean,
value.
I think I do have a level 100 like 40 Kana somewhere in like another account,
Level
but
400.
no, 140.
Okay.
Sorry,
I was like, damn,
but
what game are you
yeah.
playing?
But I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to put an effort to like
You know,
how what
it's up
for
to
like
you.
a leveling for helping your other accounts level. What like level would you get a Kana to?
I mean, if it's just to help the other characters, like just up to 200 or something is probably enough.
Okay, so it's like probably a week or two of grinding.
Maybe even like 180, right? Then you can go to Future Genesis, I think. Future Perion, I think, is 180. Or it might be
Okay,
190, one of the two, to be able to go there.
okay.
And they're
But
pretty
yeah,
strong.
I think my current goal is to obviously I've looked at a couple of your stuff. I did my own little research. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like party with Damien Lotus, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then solo all for CRA.
Mm-hmm. But that's pretty short term,
Um,
right? Do you have like longer term goals or?
I don't know, because I've only been playing for like a month now.
Mm-hmm.
I made this dual blade for the like Terror Burning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my as you can see, my Legion is like really lacking, and my Link skill is also pretty lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I've just been mostly grinding on my dual blade because that's like what's most fun to me. But
Mm-hmm.
I do plan on getting at least 120 Mercedes out. I should probably did that a long time ago, and then maybe like a Luminous because I feel like my IED is still pretty lacking. Getting more IED might help my Phantom Blow a lot more because that's only like 30% IED. And I don't think it's like
Yep.
final damage either. That's like probably somewhere.
Final damage? What?
Well, I guess it doesn't stack on to like 65% to like 95%. I'm guessing it's like probably is it? I don't think it's additive, is it? The
What?
extra IED you get from your abilities from like
ID?
a
No,
dual blade.
ID is multiplicative with your
Multiplicative. Okay, yeah.
with your lacking. Yeah.
So yeah. So right now, I mean,
Well, final damage is also multiplicative, so it's also not
oh,
additive.
okay,
But
okay.
but it's increasing. Like, so if you have 10% final damage and then you add 100%, so then that means
Mhm.
that you go to 120% total.
Okay, yeah.
You go
Actually,
to
let
like,
me pull up
because
some.
like if you have
Yeah.
100% base damage, you have one source of 10% final damage, then you end up in 110 damage, right?
Right.
And if your total damage is 110, because it's 100 damage and 10% final damage, and you add 100% final damage, then you double what the 110 you already have. So you go from 110 to 220, meaning
Mhm.
100 plus 120. So the 10% source you have doubled because you added 100%. So that's how it's multiplicative there.
Got you. Okay.
You already multiply all the existing sources. That's why having multiple small sources of
Mhm.
final damage just ends up with a lot of final damage. That's why Hero just ends up with like 350 during their bursts at some point.
Okay.
Yep.
Got you, dude.
And then for IED, you take every line of IED takes the percentage of line that it is of how much you still need
Mhm.
to get to 100%. So if you have 60 and you add a line of 30%, then you add 30% of the 40% that you're still lacking, which is 30% of 40% is 12%. So then you go from 60 to 72.
Okay.
And then every line
Wait.
does that
So
individually.
right for like a monster and bosses,
Mm-hmm.
uh, do they have like damage reduction or is it like they have actual like numbers of defense?
Regular
How's that?
monsters?
Yeah. Like in
Yeah, they
terms
have
of
actual
IED.
defense, but it's like pretty low. It's only the higher level monsters that have any kind of PDR, any kind of
Right.
physical damage reduction, but it stays up to like 10% or something, so it doesn't really come into play at all. Regular mobs.
Okay.
And elite bosses have barely any, and elite monsters also have barely any. So that's why you typically
Got
hit
you.
like very high numbers on those, because all of your boss damage applies, but they have almost no PDR. So if you want to like
Got you.
damage check and hit like capped lines and everything, then elite bosses and elite monsters are the easiest place to do that.
Okay. And I'd say like my weakest understanding of the game is like I understand flames, but I would still say I don't understand it to the point where I feel like I should.
Mm-hmm.
And transposing, I've never done it before, so that may be a little bit lacking, but I've heard it's pretty I mean, it's okay. Like, it's pretty straightforward, right? You get like, if you understand your flames of what you want on the previous thing that you're going to transpose onto the actual equipment,
Mm-hmm.
then it should be like, it's pretty straightforward, right? I mean, I heard there's like pretty low success rate, so you have to do it a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
Other than that, flame transfers, enchantment transfers, and then like potential tier transfers, and like the lines are re-rolled, right?
pretty much, yeah. The one thing is that you want to transpose at 16 stars because then you get bonus stats that like get imprinted onto your new
Gotcha.
item that stay on there even if you fall below, and even if it blows up and everything. So that's an important thing. But yeah, the main thing is that the quality of the item doesn't change just because you transfer the flame onto it. It stays like a flame disadvantaged item, so you never can re-roll after that. That's why people aim for
Right.
very high rolls
Right.
before the transposing.
And let's see. Yeah, and also Legion is also, I don't really understand it very well.
Okay.
I mean, I think I kind of do, but I don't know how exactly translate into like, I don't know how to increase your Legion score. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just making new characters and just leveling?
Pretty much. Before we go into all that, so what level are you right now? Are you like low 220s
I'm
or?
220.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good guess, right?
Yeah.
It's the lowest of the 220s. It's 220 exactly.
Lowest of 220.
Okay, so this is so the buff range is basically just with your standard bufferino and with final
Yeah.
cut, right?
The first buff is consistently buffed. Like I can keep that up consistently. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second one there's like a 60-second duration, and then one's put on 90-second cooldown, another put on 120 cooldown.
The hyper skill.
Yeah, hyper skills.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Oh, it's like a purple thing, right?
Yeah, purple and like the blade clone.
And the clone. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did that. Did you see my videos of doing CRA on my dual blade?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it.
It's
Uh,
yeah. It wasn't super easy. Like my character was.
I mean, yours like 204. I mean, that's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think it was 203 actually, but.
Oh, 203. Yeah.
But I think my buff range was just above your clean range. I think it was at 2.3. I think buffed.
Mhm. Did you have like higher boss damage and ignore defense?
My boss damage. Yeah, my boss damage and ID probably were a bit higher because of my links and my legion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just in general, links and legion way higher than yours, so that helps a lot. But yeah, the way you have to account for that is like you could just get more stat from arcane power. Because I think I was at 6 or 7k stat, but you're at 11, so you can like brute force over that difference a little bit. But IED and boss damage are very big in the beginning, especially when you don't have that much, because then percentage-wise, it represents a big increase in your actual damage output. And at that point, you know that as well. At this point, like you can't really look at your range anymore. It doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Right.
Especially if you have classes with high inflation and a lot of final damage, and you can't even compare within the same characters. You can't really compare unless you get to a certain point that everyone is like roughly similarly funded, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks nice though, like high damage, but it's like it doesn't always translate to actually higher damage. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
this has been like a common trend for like a lot of grinding like MMORPGs or like any grinding game really.
Okay. Other games have that too, where
I feel like you know Path of Exile.
I know of it. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I know of it. Yeah.
It's I think also it shows like a DPS, but it doesn't account for like elemental base like attacks or things like that that will like pseudo buff it, or like where you can't actually see the actual damage translation.
That's a huge thing that you have to get resistance for elements, right? Otherwise, certain elemental skills just like one tap you.
Yeah.
From what I saw.
In this case, I don't know. I have 100% knockback resistance. So I got like I think I have 90, and then I got like 10 from hyper stats. I don't really know what to do with status resistance. Like, what is like a goal? Is there actually a goal for you need to reach on status resistance?
Not really. The status resistance just allows you to be like stunned for shorter. You know, just like certain CCs just end faster. If you hover over it, you can see how much reduction you have in the duration of stat resistances. But when they changed how it works on like a is it a logarithmic scale, I think. So like it just tapers off very quickly, I think once you get past like 50 or so status resistance, or then it
Oh, so
reduces.
there's like a asymptote line where it's just like fucking flattens out.
Yeah, like really quickly. Like the amount of points you need to get like 1 extra percent past like 60 status resistance or something. For extra 1%, you need like 40 extra points or something. And it just gets ridiculous. So
waste of time, basically.
yeah, like very quickly.
Was this like used to be like a very OP thing? And then,
It
like,
used to be percentage, so you used to just go to 100%, and then you would some things you would just be completely immune to, and other things you would still just get regularly hit by. But then they changed it to like a percentage reduction. Like for example, the Chaos Crimson Queen, like if you had 100%, then she just wouldn't be able to zombify you, for example. So you just completely immune to all of that. Yeah.
That's actually most of the times why I die.
Yep. Because you gotta stay in dark side for the fire, and then you gotta take autopod off, because it just kills you. Yeah. You gotta either iframe it or use the hero's will to cleanse it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes input lag. Yeah, I fail my hero will, and then you're just like, hey.
And then
it is what it is.
Yeah. And you die. Yeah. Stuff like that, or like seduce or something would just not work at all. Instead of working shorter, or inverse wouldn't just work at all anymore. So I guess this is a more fair system, because before you just got to 100 and you just immune like 90% of the CCs.
Yeah. No, I would understand it. It's kind of broken, man. I mean, then you don't really need to focus on like mechanics and
way less. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're already playing Dual Blade, so you're already not focusing on half the mechanics anyway. You just iframing it, using your Asura to immune bombs, for example, or just Dark Side for all of them.
And eating every bomb,
all
every
the
fucking
hazards.
meteor in the sky. Sometimes you just do it for fun.
Yeah, you're already playing a different game than the rest of us are with that class.
Cheat code, dude.
Exactly.
Being able to solo bosses 65 IED.
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't think mine was that much higher. Mine must have been like low 70s or something.
Yeah, but I found like the CRA bosses, they're like difficulties like ranked. I feel like according to like character. Like a lot of people find Clown like pretty hefty, but I would actually say Clown was like the easiest.
If you kill him pre-split, yeah. If you do the
mean, even after split, I mean, I had to do some adjustments on the V matrix because I had to make sure my phantom blow doesn't go over 20, because when it did, it had like a 1 additional target or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I had to reconfigure it. But once I did that, it was like decently easy. I mean, you just bait one like Clown to like the other side of the map, right? And then you just kill the other one on the other side. I don't know. It was decently okay. Like, I usually have like the most lives on the Clown, and I say the second most hardest is probably Bon. Actually, no. I would actually say Crimson Queen is the second hardest. I really don't like when Bonbons just jump in the goddamn air. But
good thing you have a little bit of you have Blade Ascension, you have double flash jumps. So you have an iframe. You got a lot of outs there, so.
Yeah, but it just I don't know. I feel like it's the time duration that's like pressuring me.
The worst part is when Queen does her first phase over and over. Like if she goes back into that one a lot with the fire stacks, that can really put a lot of like time constraint, because eventually those ticks just get so bad. You just go into dark side, and then you throw out your 2 fifth job skills. You go back into dark side, and you just let her try like chip her down without dying to the fire, basically.
Usually I'm okay with the fire phase. I think what's it called? Definitely I don't know, even like damage, all the damage reflex is like pretty okay, because I don't know, it's because I have like input lag or something, so I can hit them while they have damage reflect and see the ones not die. I don't know if that's like makes sense to you, but it's like
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times when they have like damage reflect, I can actually see the ones before like I actually starts damage reflecting me back, and I can back off in time.
Yeah, I think that's a safety they put in. Like some things didn't have that in game, like the statue on Chaos Ping Bean, for example, didn't have that. Like she would just already kill you before the animation for the damage reflect even went off. That was very frustrating. So they slowed that animation down a lot to make sure that people don't just like suicide. And but yeah, DR in this game is like very tricky too, because a lot of DRs act very differently. Like as a Demon Avenger, I never really understood the problem with DR until I got Chaos Queen, because all the other DRs you basically just slam into them as a DA, and you life steal enough back, like after like 10 or 15 hits, you're like, oh, there's actually DR. Like you don't even notice it.
Okay.
But like the Chaos Queen DR, one hit and you're always dead because she reflects like 50,000% or something of your damage. It's always just insta suicide. But yeah, that's like the roughest DR in the game, I think. There's only one other one that's also pretty rough, and that's the normal Cygnus one, but that's mostly rough if you're in a party because then you reflect on the other person. So you just kill your teammate if you accidentally hit it.
Yeah.
That's pretty punishing.
No, I say they should add in that if you iframe the flame breath, you get your flames taken off. I say that's a fair thing to do.
Yeah, I think you would if you did ethereal form, you probably would, right? Because ethereal form you still get hit. Your damage just gets translated, but for iframe you become immune, right? So the skill doesn't hit you. But for some,
it's kind of sad. But
that's another reason the Queen was very easy as a DA, because the 80k is a flat amount of breath damage, which is almost nothing. So you just tank everything.
Just directly tank it.
Yep, and you lifesteal everything back. Like the fire stacks don't do anything. You just sit on her and just wail her down. It wasn't until I did it with another character that I was like, oh, this boss actually has mechanics that I have to interact with and play around. Otherwise, I've just get destroyed. Yeah. Okay. So, wait, so does transposing already make sense? I also made a video about it if you want, like.
Yeah, I think I watched it. Like I did a lot of research in this prior month.
Okay.
And it was mostly with your videos, I think.
Okay.
And that's how I came on the stream.
I see.
I actually have a folder of like all your fucking shit.
Scar folder.
Like the Scardor folder of just like flames, reboot events, dailies, cubing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just have a bunch of them on there. So.
Okay, so want to talk about flames first then?
Yeah, let's do that. I don't really understand like the tiers, I feel like, and flame. I get there's like flame advantage and like boss flames.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how to get what is the limit of like tiers of a single item?
So the reason that I work with a flame score and everything is so that you kind of don't have to worry about the tiers and the limits.
Right.
Because they can go insanely high, but it's just not realistic to expect them to ever all, because you're basically taking 4 lines into account. All of those 4 lines are somewhere between tier 4, typically between tier 4 and tier 6. And then there's variance on which lines they are, and just because of there's being so much variance, you don't like actively take into account what is the best possible flame this item gets, but more like depending on how much money do you throw at this item, realistically what is the outcome you can come to expect.
Okay. Actually, can you explain how you do the calculation on flame score? I mean, I don't really understand the math of it. When I'm looking at like the Google Doc, it's like main stat 1, secondary stat 1, like 1/8. I don't really get how you actually calculate.
Yeah, so it's kind of like an arbitrary calculation, right? It's not like something that's written in the code. Basically, what the flame score tries to do is tries to say the equivalent of how much stat would this flame be if everything got thrown into your main stat, is what it tries to say. So it redirects everything to 1 being 1 point in your main stat.
Okay.
So
actually,
yeah.
Right. Could you do like an example for like one of my items, and then we could like go through the math so I could do it myself?
Sure. So
because I'm
so the idea that you do this, the reason why we do this is because once you reach solidly the late game, like early and mid game, you're not really worrying about your flames, right? You're just trying to make sure they're not extremely terrible. But once you get to the late game, you're settled in the late game, you'll have a certain balance of how much main stat do you have, how much percentage main stat do you have access to, how much attack do you have, how much percentage attack do you have. And based on that, if you were to throw all of that into a calculator at that point, once you reach that point, you will get a certain balance that's roughly the same for most classes, but with some expectations there, right? That's why the flame score calculator has like you've seen the calculator?
Yeah, I have it up right here.
Yeah.
Wait, the actual calculator or?
Yeah, if you check exclamation mark flames, and then there's a calculator on the second link here, calculator that someone in the community made.
Got you. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so depending on if you're in late game or end game, the calculations will be a little bit different because the balance of your stats and your attack and your percentages will also be a little bit different. So what the flame score tries to do is tries to say, if you're aiming for this stage in the game, how much value in redirected into your main stat would this flame roughly be worth? And it also tries to look at, and is that a realistic expectation to get, or can you realistically ask for more, or is this already very lucky and should you settle for this and focus on other items to upgrade them instead?
Right.
So
So does it just give you like a number? Like I see in like an example,
yeah,
it's
the
like
flame score will
corrected
just
target
be
like 150, and then if your total value is like 163, like you're good to go.
pretty much, yeah. So that's under the progression tab, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So progression looks at like what is the flame score that you're trying to aim for with items that have flame advantage and no flame advantage. So that tries. This one looks more at like how much would it cost on average to get this, or to go beyond that, and so is it realistic money wise to throw more money at this item at the time that you're looking at it. Because there's a bunch of things you can throw money on it, and everything comes from your meso pile. So you want to make sure that you distribute it roughly evenly, or according to how many gains you're expected to make.
Okay.
So yeah, so the flame scores here that it says like you want to aim for, those should be rolling out of the flame score calculator. If you're still unfamiliar, you can just use the calculator. Or if you check exclamation mark flames, then you have the numbers. No, that's not the one. This one.
Okay, so how it works is first you look up that one thing for if what item has flame advantage or not.
Mm-hmm. If you're unfamiliar, yeah.
Yeah, and so flame advantage is like, isn't it like it'll always have 4 lines or something?
Yeah, but the lines. So I have this here as well. So flame advantage means that some items have flame advantage, which means they always have 4 lines of stat, and that all of the outcomes will also be 2 tiers higher than not flame advantage items.
Okay.
So like a powerful flame will be tier 4 to tier 6, and on a non-flame advantage it will be tier 2 to tier 4, for example.
And what's the difference between flame advantage and like a boss flame?
It essentially, boss flame was trying to also say flame advantage, but the term didn't cover all the boss items. Like boss was a bad term there because it indicated coming from a boss, but some items that drop from boss didn't get boss flames, quote unquote, and some items that did drop from bosses didn't drop from bosses did get quote unquote boss flames. So the term boss was kind of more confusing, so we kind of moved away from that and use flame advantage or flame disadvantage instead,
So
because
like
that's basically what we're trying to say is, does it get good flames or bad flames, or boss flames or non-boss flames, or KMS flames or non-KMS flames. They're basically all trying to say the same thing, but the term boss was a little confusing there. So
so flame advantage is like more of like a proper term to actually.
Yeah, exactly. Because what we're trying to say with boss flames is, can it get good flames? Is basically what we're trying to say. So yeah, it's just a better term to catch it.
That makes a lot more sense. I was like, okay, this is
because for example, like the horntail necklace, which was part of the boss accessory set and which dropped from a boss, does not get the boss flames. So that was very confusing to people. It's like, well, why is it called boss flames if it doesn't even get Yeah.
Got you.
So
it's
we
just
use
like
a different word.
Most of the boss equips that drop has flame advantage. That's
most of them, but not all. So this is a better term to make sure it doesn't confuse people. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So 4 lines doesn't necessarily mean that there's like that there are 4 numbers colored. See if I can get an example from one of your items. So for example, if you take this Dominator pendant here.
Right.
Dominator pendant has flame advantage, but you see there's only 3 green numbers here, right?
Yeah.
But you can also see that, but this is a flame advantage item, so he has 4 lines. So if you wanted to puzzle together what kind of stats you have, there's a good chance that you have. So the 60 is very high here, so there's a very good chance that that's a combination of 2 lines instead.
Okay.
So what could be possible, for example, for 4 lines, is that you have 24 intellect. Let's see, because it's only They have like 24 intellect and 24 and 24 strength, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would it probably be? If I'd make a guess, I would say it's 24 strength, and then 12 strength and 12 intellect, and then 12 intellect and 12 dex, and then 48 dex by itself, or something like that. But it doesn't like spread them out like that. It just throws them into one pile.
Interesting. Okay.
So it doesn't show like plus 48 dex, plus 12 dex, something
Right.
like that. It just like throws them together. That's why there's very little value in like trying to do the puzzle and trying to see like, okay, which tiers are these, which tiers are that. Instead, I just go by, okay, what flame score is acceptable for items around this level.
Mm-hmm.
Redirect everything to the flame score, and that's kind of based on what the potential outcome is, but also just kind of based on like how much money do people spend on average to get these kind of results, and just does it make sense to throw this amount of money at it, taking into account also how much money would it cost you to get better potential, and how much money would it cost you to get higher Star Force at these points.
Right.
So you just kind of move away completely from tiers of the outcomes. You can still piece it together if you want to, just for, for the sake of the puzzle. But instead, if you just know, like, okay, this is flame advantage, and the item is at this level, that means I'm looking for this kind of flame score, and then we'll get into how you calculate the flame score, and then you'll be able to see for an item like, okay, this is good enough, or this is better than everything else I already have, so this is okay for now. And then move on to upgrading other items that are also flame advantaged within the same level tier, and then you can compare them with each other. Is this a slightly higher level item? Then I have to try to get a little bit higher, because within the same tier, right, that's where it comes from, within the same tier of result, higher level items get slightly higher numbers. So even if it's the same tier outcome, which has the same odds per flame, you'd still want the number to be a little bit higher. So it's a higher flame score, but it's not necessarily more difficult to achieve. It's the same difficulty.
Okay.
So you always just compare items that are of the same advantage type and that are roughly within the same level type together. And then, like the Dominator Pendant, you would compare roughly to your Pink Holy Cup, maybe to your CRA gear roughly, right? But the CRA gear you want to get a little bit higher maybe, but like roughly around the same. And then you kind of like skip a little bit, and then you go into like the Abzo stuff would be a little bit higher, right? Because it's the 160 tier. So you would expect those numbers to be a little bit higher. And then on the other end, if you go lower, you have like temporarily, you'll have like your Machinator Pendant, maybe your Deocidus earrings or the Will-O-the-Wisps, whatever you're using. Those will be a little bit lower. Yeah, but it just trickles down a little bit, but it doesn't stray too far from those same numbers.
Got you. Okay, so for the most part, in terms of identifying flames, I just look at that one thing, like the progression, right? And then seeing that, like right now I'm like 220. I guess like 221 to 250, right?
Yeah.
And so 95 to 105 is what I'm aiming for, and then I just input everything, and then see if it has what's it called? See if it's like in that range, right?
If you're aiming for that already now, that would be pretty high, and then you would probably be disproportionately spending more of your money. So that's like the end of the stage, right? So you'd be looking at the numbers in the beginning of the stage to see if you're at least there. But that's like where you would expect to be now. So if you're going to be upgrading into higher level items, that's what you eventually aim for. But it doesn't mean that if you get an Abzo item that it's like not worthy of wearing unless it has at least like 100 plus flame score. It means that eventually, once you get to 250, you aim for that. And it means that if you happen to lock into a flame of like around 100 or above 100 flame score, that means you can definitely sit on that for a while and move on to something else and invest flames into something else instead.
Okay. So I should be looking for a flame between 25 and 75 instead then? Is that what you're saying?
So the division here, the forward slash is between the non-advantage and the advantage.
Oh, that's what that
means. So 25 is like what you want to aim for on non-advantage items, and 75 on advantage items. And then at the end of the stage, you'll aim for around 42 on non-advantage items, and anywhere between 95 and 105 on the advantage items. And the reason that gap is there is because some items are around level 140, like your Pink Holy Cup, and then 95 will be good enough. But then on your Abzo items, which are like 20 levels higher, there the same kind of quality of flame would actually represent 105 flame score or higher. So you want to have that as the goal for Abzo stuff. And then for CRA, it'll be like a little bit in the middle, like around 100 basically.
Got you. Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
And then the only thing we do stick to the tiers for is your weapon, because your weapon flames, you probably looked this up already, is like the percentage of your base attack, right?
Right.
So I can't really put all the numbers that exist for all the different weapons in this grid. That would just be way too confusing. So instead, what you aim for mainly is for a high tier of weapon or magic attack, and then plus. Plus meaning extra boss damage, extra all stat, maybe a bunch of extra stat on top of it. Is what you're aiming for. So now, where you're at right now, you would hope that your weapon would either be tier 6 attack or tier 5 and some nice lines on top of it. And then eventually you'd aim for tier 6 attack plus something useful, or even for tier 7. But that's a pretty niche application, because it really only works for attacks that have like insane base weapon and magic attacks. And it's usually just magical weapons, because those have crazy crazy main stats, or like two-handed swords and two-handed axes, those kind of things. But
Okay, I think the biggest thing for me is like I actually don't know how much longer I will be playing. It could be like a year, or it could be like a month, honestly, because I've only been playing like a month, and so I don't know. I have not hit like the burnout period yet, but I don't know if I would actually, because Maple Store Daily is taking more and more time like every day. It's getting like slightly more tedious, but
yeah, I
it's
think
fine
it's
because,
I think it's a good thing to reevaluate your dailies every now and then, and
right. I mean,
to double check like, okay, am I really doing these just because I'm trying to not miss out on a small thing, or is this really worth my time? Because yeah, you can cake on like 24 hours of dailies every single day and still not get all of them done, and actually not really progress at that point. That is
I
very
think at this
possible.
point, mine's like pretty like it's pretty lazy dailies at this point. Like I don't do like Vanishing Journey PQ. I mean, I do all the dailies for the Arcane, and then sometimes I don't even do Monster Park. I probably should. But I've calculated that's like 270 days of consecutive doing Monster Park to actually get the badge. But
Well, it doesn't have to be consecutive, but yeah, eventually.
oh yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
270 days. Wait, does it have to be consecutive to like get every day of the week though?
No, it just counts like how many Mondays have you completed, how many
Oh,
Tuesdays. Yeah, it just counts them until you get to 77. Yeah.
Got you. But yeah,
Are you going for the achievement to clear 10,000 monster parks, dude? Come on.
oh come on, man. Yeah, come on.
It's
Get
only
it
10K. It's
together.
only 4 years of every single day max runs.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I do that, and then I do like I think every single boss, because I just do it for actually not. I mostly do bosses. I do the hard bosses for like the intense power crystals.
Mm-hmm.
But then I end up doing everything else because I like my occult cubes. I mean, you can see most of my equipment have like decent like 9% or like 3% all stat, 3% luck. I like to like cube those. Um, I guess like the biggest thing is like probably like the arcane dailies, but I know those are like really important. Like my CPQ,
Yep.
I do CPQ. I don't even do solo voyages anymore, man. Like it's pretty fucking lazy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like just like in real life, I don't feel like being pressured to do something. I feel like at a certain point, Maple Story is like feeling like, oh, you gotta do these. But right now it's still okay. I mean, I think if it really boils down to it, I'll probably just do just all the Meso dailies and leave it at that. But I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you're allowed to push back. You don't have to like get bullied by the game into
Right.
doing
I
things
mean,
that you
before
don't
I
want
was
to
like a
do.
little bit bullied by the game because like the fake CRA gear, I felt like I was on like a time,
Yeah.
like a ticking time bomb, like to get the actual gear. It was like,
Yeah.
if you like burn out in like a month and you come back, you're like totally naked. It's like I don't want to play this shit game, man. And you just like fucking leave. So
At least now it's 3
yeah.
months, right? So you have a little bit more time.
Yeah. No, but it's a lot faster than I thought because I actually started like I never got any CRA carries because I actually like it was like a lot of guild contributions and I did that and then the guild was just not caring because it's kind of dead. I was like fuck, so I got like oh shit. And when I was swear, I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure, dude, no problem.
But like but yeah, no, I got my guild contributions and it's like I didn't get any carries, so I left and I joined another guild. And like their contributions like double the other guilds. So I did that. But by the time I got the guild contribution, like 50k, which is like 10 days, I started like testing and soloing CRA, and then so I actually slowed 3 doors before getting any carries. And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, At this point, it's not
I
even
should do
like
that.
carry.
I should do like carries at 100k, and then by the time people get there,
Yeah.
they can already solo. So
Yeah.
you
So
get
it's
them
just
you get
like
them in for the carry
you know,
pretenses, but then they never actually use them.
exactly. So I was like, but no, I enjoy. I guess the thing I enjoy the most is I want to be able to like carry for people. That sounds a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You
I know
want
what it feels like to be like at the bottom and not being able to do anything, and then like you're at the people's whim. Like, oh, they have to be like, they have to like
you know what it feels like to practice and earn the bosses, so you want to take that away from people, right?
No. It's like you understand how it feels. Like honestly,
I
without
just
the
kidding.
fake
I just
CRA
messed with
gear,
you.
the game would have been so much harder, man. I don't think I would have been able to solo. I don't think I would be able to solo like the CRA bosses if I didn't have like the fake gear to begin with. If I
I
had
mean,
like
it's
didn't
definitely
have
a
the
lot
fake gear, it's
harder.
either
Yeah.
Pencilier or probably Von Leon or like Empress gear.
You would go a combination of Von Leon Necro Gear.
Oh,
Your
Necro
weapon would
gear.
be
Okay.
Sweetwater Weapon, which is actually one rank higher and has higher base attack. So you would be
Okay.
attacking a little
Yeah.
bit faster. Everything else would be roughly the same. You probably rely a little bit more on event rings early on, but maybe more pieces of boss accessory set and a little bit less of the Sengoku set. But other than
Got
that,
you.
you'd probably be doing roughly the same. You'd just be relying a little bit more on making sure you do all your dailies to build your arcane power,
Mhm.
because you wouldn't have that many nodes yet when you're leveling past. Yeah, basically like my dual blade, but mine is just fueled more by Legion, so you probably have to work a little bit more
Mhm.
in your Legion to get your peripherals like in order.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still doable. Yeah.
Got you, dude. Okay. What was I saying? But yeah. I guess I have like a list of things I want to ask you.
Well,
For solo.
we were on flames. Do we need to like
All right.
do like an example for an item? Well, maybe you
Yeah,
can.
yeah, yeah. We could do the example for I don't. I feel like it'd be easy. But honestly, all the flames are pretty dog shit. So
Well,
I've not
we'll be
invested
able to
so many
see we'll
flames.
be able to see how dog shit they really are, right? Once you throw
Yeah,
them
yeah,
into a
yeah,
calculator,
yeah.
you'll be able to
Yeah.
see, and then you can
Of
cross-reference it
course.
with the
Of
progression, and then you can see where
course.
you want to be and where you're at, and then you can also see which ones need the most work and which ones are actually
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
already really close.
Yeah, that's actually one of the questions is like in terms of priority, what am I trying to prioritize in terms of flames? What am I trying to prioritize in terms of potentials, I feel?
Mm-hmm.
I think I identify like all the legendaries should be with me for a very, very long time. If not till the end of the game.
Yeah,
Um,
your emblem, right?
yeah. Anything that's unique is either I got it through elite champions, like the drop thing,
Mm-hmm.
or I got it like I think my monocle. I think I got that accidentally through like 3 craftsman, like master craftsman cube or some shit like that. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, hey shit, I'll take it, dude. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
three-line luck.
24% luck.
Yeah, no, that's
But yeah, no, I have like pretty good luck when it comes to those cubes, but I just
yeah,
have the
that's good.
absolute shit luck with the occult cubes. Like I can throw 200 occult cubes down and not get like 9%.
Yeah, or not get 6% even
Yeah,
sometimes.
or like I'll throw 50 and like not get like 6%.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but in terms of like the other cubes, I have pretty decent luck with them, man.
Looks
So
good, yeah.
that's a feels good, man.
Okay, yeah, so we'll just go into flames first, and then kind of look
Hmm.
at like what would be the flame priority then.
Right.
And then like order all of the types of upgrading, I guess,
Hmm.
to make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so potential. So I mean, we could start with the hardest one. We could start with your weapon, right? So we have
Right.
the value of the fact that it's a temporary
Well,
weapon and that you're kind of
yeah.
close to already killing the boss. That's
Hmm.
one part of the
I have like
equation.
9 or is it 7 shards? Some I need like probably 2 more runs and I'll get it like in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. So that means, and you're able to clear. Wait, you were trying to get solo C-Val, so you were doing it in party now, or?
I can do it in party now. Yeah, I don't think I'd probably be able to solo if I was stopping lazy and actually just read up on the guide. But I'm decently okay with the C-Val right now. I mean, it's just like the abilities are actually like not that bad. It's just like if you don't dodge them, you're dead. But the abilities are like pretty simple to dodge. I feel in this case, it's just like the HP and like the tunneling of not being able to hit it is like kind of annoying. Right.
Yeah, he's just kind of annoying. True. Yeah. Yeah. So if you were further away from being able to do what you're already able to do, then working on the flame on the weapon would be like #1 priority, right? Because there's no attack on this right now whatsoever. And if you would look at the flame score, so you see it's 160. It's level 150 item. It has flame advantage. It's 160 base attack. So you would probably aim for a tier 6 attack, right? So that would be 52 extra weapon attack. So if you and so from the flame score here, you can also see if you get 1 extra attack on just like a regular item, that's already like 4 flame score. So if you can get 52 extra attack, that would be 208 flame score, which is probably basically like 4 characters, 4 items worth of flame scores just on one line on 1 flame on your weapon. That's why that one is so fucking important. If you hit something like damage and all that, like on top of that, that would be like the tier 6 plus, right, that we talked about. And then you basically have enough, not on this weapon, because you'd want that on an Absolab weapon, right, if you're going all the way to 250. But if you had hit a flame like that on an Absolab weapon, then you'd just be set for 250 and you can start focusing on everything else. So for this one, you can't really flame score this one, right, because it's a weapon and because of the different numbers, and you can't really score damage percentage and boss damage percentage in any way. So, because that relies on like a completely different balance that shifts too much based on your level. But like flame-wise, just the flame quality-wise, this would be like where most of the gains could be made. But again, because you're so close already to killing that boss, investing in this now seems a bit silly. However, there is the extra. So there's more background stuff here. Like, there's a lot of things to think about. So first of all, this is a temporary weapon, but it's temporary for almost 2 more months. The other thing is, if you get your permanent Fafnir, what would you really do to the permanent Fafnir? You probably get it to around the same amount of stars, probably the same type of potential, maybe like unique or legendary, but it would be so that would go a little bit higher, and then you would work on the flame on that one. But how long would you use? Yeah.
Do you upgrade the Fafnir gear into Absolab gear? I mean, the weapon to the Absolab weapon, or can you use Fafnir for?
Well, yeah, that would be the next thing. Like, the next question is, like, how long would you be really using the Fafnir one before you switch it into the Abzo one? And then the other thing is, would you switch it because you have the relay event right now? Would you maybe switch into the fake Abzo instead, which is a permanent one, or would you switch into an actual Abzo? So I think you have a because you're working on the relay, right?
Right, I am. Actually, I was working on relay the last relay, and it's like it was so sad because I think I was a little late to like the relay. I was like, I played like a month ago, right? So then I think you only need like 20 days to get the full relay. And I think I started on day like 11, and I don't know, maybe I did start on day 10, and I maybe I didn't max out, but anyways, I stopped at like a single day. I was like a day off of like the 10,000 maple points, and I was just like crying like back in the corner. It was a Pepe hands, dude.
Sad times, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very sad times.
So, but you're on track to get the weapon now, right?
Yeah.
So I think it would be a very good idea to just to probably just reflame this one, get those extra attack, and then just wait until you get the fake Zolab one. And then on that one as well, the only thing you do is just upgrade the flame, and then that just stays there, and that'll give you a huge boost for now. And then basically what that'll allow you to do is work on all the other Abzo items first once you get to Lotus and Damien, and you don't have to worry about your weapon at all. And then once all the other ones are set, then you can work on the weapon, and then you'll have enough money, and all your other stuff will be at a decent level of being upgraded that you're trying to push for 17 stars and good potential on top of that. And then what you could do is use the pieces of the Fafnir that you have, and then maybe Star Force that one during an event or something, and then transfer hammer it over, right? What you were saying, like use it to upgrade into the Abzo is something that you might be able to do once you're just in the process. Like, let's say there's a Star Force event, and you can do that cheaply, but you don't have the Abzo item yet. You could do it through the Fafnir, basically.
Okay. How much better is like the Abzo weapon? Like, I guess like compared to like a Fafnir.
Base attack is a lot higher, and it opens up the set bonus, which is better.
Is it smart to keep like one Fafnir weapon for like maybe like scroll like for like attack potential, and another one for like boss damage and IED, and swap it
You,
between like mobbing and
y-
bossing, or you just want to keep like the Apso.
that's the thing that you could do, but I
Right.
think that's very expensive, and that I think the money is
Oh,
more
that's right.
spent better upgrading all your other stuff instead. Because
Right.
when you come to
Okay.
mobbing, most of your damage is going to come from the arcane power advantage and from your boost
Right.
nodes. That's where most of your damage is going to come from anyway, and
Right.
not so much specifically from your weapon. What some people do is they go for like a bossing and a mobbing weapon, but the secondary, I mean, but that's mostly if they need a lot of IED for the bosses. And since you're dual blade, you don't need that, so you can just fully rely on
True.
full attack mainly.
But okay, yeah. I think another thing is like the difference between the powerful rebirth and eternal rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't exactly know. I could probably search it up right now, but it's just like, um, do I like when I'm looking for like reflaming things? Do I use eternal or do I use powerful? Because then if it's like boss flames, right? Is it like
Mm-hmm.
higher tier or something? If you use like eternal flames.
Yeah. So if you look at the screen here, this is like
All right.
the intro basically to
Yeah,
Flames
I think
from
I'm
the
looking
wiki
at this.
page.
Mm-hmm.
So like the number of lines, right? That's where we talked about 1 to 4.
Gotcha.
There's like apparently like an exception for Meister crafting and fusing, but yeah, I don't know. And then the elite boss equips. That's when you get them from the like from those orbs that are flying around, and then sometimes they
Right.
can get sometimes they can get like really good flames, like basically the same as flame advantage items. That's why
Right.
sometimes you see those crazy ones with like 40 attack and 80 stat or something
Mm-hmm.
on Pencileer. That's always because it's from an elite boss drop. And again, if you
Okay.
would reflame that, it would immediately lose that advantage because it is inherently a normal equip. It is inherently
Right.
not
Right.
flame
Right. Right.
advantage. Um,
Okay.
and that's like the 4 lines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the tier range, right? That from that we look at below here, where it just has all of those numbers and all of those tiers.
Mm-hmm.
And the so the last thing is the one you talked about here is the um, yeah, so
Oh,
the
okay.
powerful flames. So that goes
Yeah.
between tier 3 and tier 6 on flame advantage,
Right.
and the other ones is between 1 and 4, right? So that's the 2 levels lower that I said. And then
Right.
the eternal ones go from 4 to 7 on flame advantage, and is tier 2 to
Mhm.
tier 5 on normal ones.
Gotcha.
So if you get
Okay.
lucky with an eternal flame on a non-flame advantage item, you can still hit tier 4s and tier 5s. Maybe
Mhm.
even tier 5s, and then on a flame advantage item, if you're unlucky, you could hit tier 4. So technically, it could be higher, but it's very low chance, and you have this variability to also take
Gotcha.
into account. So
Right.
you'll so so here's the main thing. So the most important thing to use eternal flames on is your weapons, right? Because you have that chance for that 1 tier higher to maybe hit a tier 7, which is a
Mhm.
lot of attack, and just have on average better outcomes.
Right.
On average, though, people always say that eternal flames are shit and that they give you bad outcomes because it's still a numbers game. It's still like a quantity over quality thing. Because if you have 20 eternal flames that all have slightly higher possible outcomes than your powerful flames, but you have 100 powerful flames instead, there's still
Mhm.
the odds that one of your best rolls is going to be with a powerful flame is still way higher than it is going to be
Right.
from an eternal, right? Because it is still a numbers game at the end of the day. But if you're trying to min max, the most important thing would be to use eternals on your weapon, and after
Okay.
your weapon on your highest level items that have flame advantage. So like Absolab stuff, basically, or
Uh.
or items that you want to transpose, right? Because there you're aiming
Right.
for super high numbers.
Mhm.
So if you have the access to one extra tier, on average, you'll get better outcomes there. So that's like the Papulatus Mark and the Dominator Pennant, for example.
Right. I heard the pop mark is like extremely hard to get or
Yep,
something like
it
that.
is. Yeah, you don't count on it. You just hope for it, but you don't count on getting it. Basically,
Right.
yeah.
Um, how would you say like the I know I have a what's it called, the Dominator pennant. I
Mhm.
already got a legendary. What would you say like is that part of like the second tier priority?
You have 2 now, right?
Yeah, I have two. One is probably gonna be used after I transpose, and then this the legendary one is gonna be the one that's gonna be transposed onto Sweetwater. But how high would you say that priority is in order to get like the flame and just transpose it? Well, first you said yeah, I want to get to like 16 stars, right?
Yeah, this is like transposing stuff is basically what we start thinking about once you're working on completing your superior Gallic set. and you're trying to like min-max your accessory set. So this is probably like level 240, 245 area when you're like thinking about this.
Okay.
This is when everything is already 17 stars and probably 2.5 to 3 line like potential. Then you're trying to think about pushing past 17 stars, and yeah, that's when that comes into play.
Right. In terms of my monocle right now, then do I settle for like that unique and just sit on that?
You probably settle on unique and just ride that one out to 17 stars with everything else, like gradually, right? Like 30% off event to 15, and then a 5, 10, 15 event up to 17. Yeah, because like 3-line unique is like with the way you want to imagine, like, do I tier up or not? Like, well, if I tiered it up, what percentage would I aim for?
Right.
Because like with your tattoo, you settle for 23, right? Which is which is normal. So with your monocle, you would spend money on tiering up and then settle for 23 again, which is lower than what you have now. That wouldn't make any sense, right? You're just throwing away money at that point. So yeah, it's yellow and it's not green, but boo fucking who, like you're stronger. So that's what matters at the end of the day. So yeah, you don't give a fuck. You just carry about other items instead. The other items that will be way more important will be, well, not the weapon for now, right? Because we're doing the fake lab thing. So what's going to be more important is just getting everything that's not that's going to stay with you for longer. That is only quote unquote epic and 6%, which is not bad, but in, you know, it's all in relative terms. In relative terms to what you have, that's the worst, quote unquote. So bringing all of that up to unique first is going to be more important. And since they're lower tiers, they're still going to be lower percentages stat than your monocle. So,
got you. Is it worth to get any of my Fafnir gear to legendary? Is that a good investment to do?
So I wouldn't bring the Fafnir stuff to legendary. The reason is that once the pool of stats that you can get from potential between unique and legendary gets increased by a whole lot of shitty lines. So it becomes on average way more expensive to hit your lines, and you basically want to treat them like your hat hitting the 3-line luck. The average cost of hitting this on legendary, I think, is like 18 bill or something, maybe even 20.
I think I did that in like fucking 5 cubes. Yeah,
so like you sit on this for like a long ass time, and you try to do the same with your top and your bottom to like get into unique, and you just master crossman to that. Like that's way more money efficient than trying to get him to legendary and then hoping to settle for 21. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I've been pretty lucky with these like cubes in terms of my own.
Yeah, the triple lines are really juicy. Yeah, you just sit on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like my Katara, I think it's in a pretty good spot too. I think.
Yep, Katara's in a good spot as well. Yep.
Okay. The thing is just like I have no like boss damage in like IED, but it's like IED is fine, right? But I feel like boss damage is pretty important, right? Where would I get more boss damage?
A lot of that is in the Legion.
Right. Okay.
Legion and hyperstats, but you already have the hyperstats level, right, to boss damage?
Right. 10, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, boss damage would be from the secondary. The set bonus, once you get the Absolute set bonus, then it'll overtake the loss of the set bonus now from the set bonus that you would lose. But when you go to the fake soul app, it comes with 35% boss damage on it, so it would still increase a little bit. But hopefully the flame itself on the Absolute would also, what you would be aiming for is attack plus boss damage. Those are like the optimal lines. Because if we go back to the lines for a second, some of the lines are very easy. Like for all stat increase, it's just tier 1 is 1%, tier 2 is 2%. Like that's always the same. And then when it comes to damage, it's also like tier 1 is 1%, tier 2 is 2%. But when it comes to boss damage, tier 1 is 2%, tier 2 is 4%, and it just doubles. So like tier 5 is 10%. So if you can get hit like a 10 or 12% boss damage line with a tier 5 or tier 6 attack, that would be really good, because then you can just basically get like a small potential line extra just in your flame. That's what most people are aiming for in their powerful flames. And that's when, yeah, you try to go for those Eternals, right? Like you're dreaming of this, but you're most likely going to be ending up with this, or maybe even this. Like if you had tier 6 attack and 8% boss, like that will already be good, right? Because like this, you know how damage works, right? Like it gets thrown into one pile, damage, boss damage when you're attacking bosses.
I heard like damage is like pretty shit compared to attack percent or something like that.
If you can choose between the two, you would always choose for attack percent because of the balance that we have in the game. But a different server with different balance, it might be the other way around, right? Because at the end of the day, it just matters of it depends on how many sources you have and if there's diminishing returns on the amounts. But let's say that even like a tier 4 on boss damage is still like would be like a tier 8 on percentage damage increase, right? Because regular monsters, again, you don't care. You have your arcane power advantage, you have your boost nodes. Regular monsters just die. It doesn't matter what the flame on your weapon is there. But if you're attacking bosses, you always want just the higher percentage there. So even a tier 3 on boss damage would still be like the highest you could get on a powerful flame for percentage damage. So this is just a really good line to aim for along with the attack.
You see the flame score calculator doesn't have damage or boss damage. If you get those, how would you calculate that?
So for the weapon, it's different, right? Only the weapons could get damage and boss damage. And the damage and the weapons are here in the tier are so you aim for the tier for attack and then plus, which is be something more. So the priority would be boss damage, but anything that gives you extra would just count as the plus and would count as appropriate here.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do we need to go through like like an example for your item, or does like for another item?
I think it makes sense now. Yeah. I think it makes. Yeah, you explained it very, very well.
Okay. Yeah, so we're trying to just move away from like all of the tiers and all of the numbers and just be like, is this good enough?
Yeah.
How good can this be?
High enough number, right?
Exactly.
Make it more easier.
Yep.
Okay, in terms of like my current mace, because I don't have a Kana farmer, so I'm mostly getting my mesos through Ursus, Maple Tour, and then intensive power crystals.
Yep, and just training, I guess.
Actually, I get a lot more from what's it called? I get a lot from grinding elite champions actually.
Okay.
Because sometimes on a board I like change channels and like the arcane, and there's always like elite champions like spawning, so I just go do them really quick.
Oh, the bosses, you mean, like the purple boxes?
Yeah, no, the purple boxes and then like the drop, because then I take the drops of like the equipment and I head to like Artemil and I just like extract them all. So I end up getting like a lot of Philosopher's Stones. I think I have like I'm sitting like 700 or something like that right now.
Yep. Yeah, I like saving those up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're used for crafting though, so I'm not gonna like preemptively sell them. Really need them.
Like not to be too like pedantic, but like the elite champions are like the bees and the gargoyles and the like the big slime and everything, right? And the elite bosses is the one that you see on the minimap, right? That's what you mean? Yeah, you go to the elite bosses.
Okay.
And then you have like the little mini game at the end, and then you get your purple chests, and then you jump into the little balls, and those give you the equips, right? Yeah, just to make sure. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing you could do, but you're limited, right? I think you can open 40 chests a day.
Right.
Per character, I think.
The which chests?
Those purple chests from the elite boss, I think you can only open 40 a day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if you hit that max yet, like because I've done that every now and then as well, just to like if I like I don't know feel like training, feel like bossing, I just derp around. Yeah, if there's a lot of people training, you can find a lot of them for sure.
It's also a way I get my I farm my epic pot scrolls because I'm too lazy to do U garden.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure. I mean, the odds are kind of shit, but eventually you get one every now and then. Yeah.
I mean, I get decent. I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. So
Okay.
I'm a lucky man.
And you get like stacks of occults, so that helps.
Yes, sir. That's like actually the most important thing. I like my occults, man.
It's just really valuable to be able to re-roll all your epics into at least 6 or 9%.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that adds up to quite a lot.
I mean, most of my stuff is already. I don't think I have a single gear that was. I don't. 6% was okay. It's just like rolling for that 9%. The extra 3% is just like killer. Also, can you explain how like the Horntail earring has 6%?
It's possible. It's possible to get epic lines on everything. It's just a low chance.
Very low. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like low chance. Got you. Okay.
We know we know the odds like quite specifically for red and black cubes, but you've probably noticed this as well when you're rolling Master Craftsman cubes. You get so many double and triple prime lines in rare and epic.
Actually, no. All those like triple prime lines I think is from like Master Craftsman cube and like Meister cubes I just get randomly.
Oh no, but like triple prime, I mean, so with prime line, I mean like the same tier as the top line.
Oh, same tier as top line. Oh, right.
So it would be like 6% luck, 6% dex, 6% luck or something. Like if you roll that in epic, that's like always Master Craftsman cubes has a very high chance of rolling that. But then also has a decent chance of tiering up to unique, and then has I don't know. Even in unique, I think a decent chance of rolling double tiers. So we know for if you roll with red cubes, we know it's 100% chance to get a legendary line on the top line. And then for the second line, it's 90% chance for a unique line and 10% chance for a legendary line. And on the bottom line, it's 99% chance unique and 1% chance a legendary line.
Okay.
And then the black cubes is 100%, and then it's 80-20 on the second line, and it's is it 98 and 2? Yeah, 98 and 2%. So it's like double the chance on the middle line and double chance on the bottom line to get legendary lines. That's why some people brute force the black cubes so that they can get double primes more easily, especially if you're going for the critical damage on the gloves, right? Just pound for pound, that's a better outcome there.
Okay. I guess I really like to invest in something that will be like there for like a long time. But it looks like most of these things are eventually gonna go
transient. Well, your CRA is going to be there for a long ass time, and you're also going to be able to build up backups of that pretty quickly as you are killing CRA on the daily. So
I guess,
yeah.
Well, I want to know is like what gear am I replacing soon, and what gear should I like tier up to at least unique to like keep for like a while or like a pretty like a decent amount of time.
So honestly, I would think tiering up to unique with a bunch of things might not be super necessary. I think that star forcing things up might be a better thing to kind of like save up for at this point.
Interesting.
Because I think in general your potentials are pretty good.
Okay. So in terms of like, I guess rings or like belt or like shoulder, there's nothing that I really want to replace right now. You don't think?
So if you look at the accessories, you're basically keeping all of these accessories until you start introducing superior Golics, basically.
Got you. Right.
So that's going to be for you probably like level 230, 235-ish is probably when you're going to be like at the level. That's when you start introducing more and more Abzo pieces, Abzo Lab armors, and that's when you start taking down that boss. Hard Lux might be doable for you now.
Yeah, I can do it as a party, for sure.
Okay,
and I'm pretty good with the hard Lux, or just the Golux mechanics in general, I feel.
Okay. Maybe you can do Helix parties as well, in like 5 levels or so. Once everything is a little bit more upgraded, a little bit more arcane power, a little bit stronger. Maybe boost nodes leveled a bit, and then because it's just more coins per day, and there's a small chance of getting one of the drops, right? You'll have to set up some kind of loot rotation with whoever you run with, of course, making sure that it's fair for everyone. The things that I typically upgrade past where you are before they get replaced is there's let's see, like so if you want to get something to unique, your top and your bottom would be options. And possibly your cape. Possibly, because Tyrant would be the next switch, but you'll probably go for both the glove and the shoe first from the same shop as where the cape is from, so it'll be like the third item on the list, so it'll be weeks of Lotus later. So the shoulder will probably be the first thing you switch into Abzo from the Damien shop, because you're going to have the fake Abzo Lab weapon, so that one is going to get replaced very quickly, so we definitely don't want to touch that one, right? The only thing is, when you switch away the shoulder, then the boss accessory set gets... well, your Sengoku set will get one weaker, right?
Right.
So then you'll be at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, you don't want to... Basically, at that point, what would probably be better is if you switch the belt for either the Zakum or the Pink Bean belt, and then switch your Iphia's ring out for an event ring. Are you working on the Master SS ring right now?
I am not, but I heard your videos. I probably should.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to do that. So just so that you have it ready, maybe upgrade it already a little bit, and then you can switch out either whichever is the weakest. I'm guessing the Iphia is probably stronger than the Silver Blossom, right?
I think so, yeah.
So then you can switch out the Silver Blossom for the Master SS ring instead.
Check really quick.
Yeah, I think the Iphian, because it's like upgraded from the basic Iphia ring or something. Yeah, I've never actually gotten one of those. It's 2 and 5. Oh, it's probably roughly the same.
Actually, it's like roughly the same, actually. So.
Yeah, it has a little bit more HP and MP, I guess. That's about it. And
Yeah, you
potential
need that
wise,
HVMP, baby.
well, you got
How
9%
could I
on
do
your Silver
without it?
Blossom, so you would replace the Ifya first, I guess.
Okay.
I guess the Ifya can get more Star
Synergy
Force.
ring, I don't have any characters else I'm grinding it on, so that's probably where it'll be at, I feel.
It's rank 1 synergy? Like,
Yeah,
no.
it's rank 1 synergy, so
Okay.
I just got it because I had nothing else to throw in there.
I see. Yeah.
I know there's like new events coming up soon. Is there any like ring? I know I like I played when I started playing I barely missed like the anniversary, so I didn't get any like the rings in that event.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any events that are coming up that are like similar in terms of
In general, like these event rings, they come back every now and then. I don't know by heart which ones will be coming when though.
Gotcha.
I don't
That's
have
fine.
that
Yeah.
clear right now. Yeah, with that in mind, yeah. But so replacing the belt once you get into the shoulder, right? Replacing the belt with either Pink Bean or the Chaos Sakum because those have flame advantage while this one doesn't. So you can pick up the slack and then increase one of the shittier base stat rings with the Master Assess ring instead to get a lot more stat from that. For future switch, but other than that, you basically keep exactly the same accessories that you have now.
Okay. So hold on, I'm just taking notes here. Okay, so pretty much the first thing I'm replacing is the next part is just Abso, right? So I'm currently I'm supposed to on work on solo CRA. And like fully being able to solo CRA like with like a really high clear rate, and also being able to party Damien Lotus just like the normal one, right?
So to build CRA, the main thing you probably want to work on is just on one hand mechanics, on the other day arcane symbol dailies, very important. Nodes from any source that you can get them from is very important, and then the fourth thing is going to be your Legion, because that's kind of like your backbone of your character and any other character that you play after that. And as your Legion gets rolling and you get more link skills, every other character that you're going to level for your Legion is going to be all the much stronger for it, both directly by applying the link skills to it and indirectly by having the Legion built up for that character. So in the beginning it's going to feel rough because the characters are just at their weakest, but as you start snowballing with your Legion, every single character will just start leveling way faster, especially if it's paired with some kind of event that gives you coupons, or some kind of kill skill that kills the whole map around them every now and then. That will definitely speed up the process.
Okay, so you said the shoulder was the first one to go?
If you're going into Abso, so you have the Damien and Lotus shop, right? Do you kind of know how that all works?
I think it's like you do the dailies and then you kill the boss once, right? And then you can exchange it for like 2 or something like that, 2 tokens or some shit like that.
Yeah, so you have the weeklies in each area, so they're not dailies anymore; they're weeklies now.
Oh yeah, no, they're weeklies, right?
Yeah.
I've been doing them.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, so the weeklies in every area get combined with the drop of the boss in that area to give you coins to buy items from the store in that respective area. So, and every shop has different items in it. So the weapon is in both areas, but the shoe, the cape, and the glove are only in the Lotus shop. So that makes it more relevant to get the weapon from the Damien shop instead. Otherwise, you're way too lopsided on Lotus items that you need, and then you only need the shoulder from the Damien shop, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because the other items there are the hat and the overall, and those just don't come into play because CRA is just better.
Okay, yeah.
So the shoulder would be the first from the Damien shop, and then from the Lotus shop, the first one would definitely be your gloves, right? In general, gloves is the best upgrade because you go for that critical damage once you get the Abso, and also because right now it's only epic where your shoe already has 15% luck, and compared to the cape has way better base stats as Tyrant, so the glove is like the obvious first upgrade there.
Okay.
That's why I said it might be still worth a little bit to invest in the cape, because that one's third on the list to be replaced and is kind of a powerhouse with its base stats, so will definitely be a very powerful tool to get you strong enough to be killing Lotus and Damien.
Okay, so Tyrant cape is third, but you said that I could still invest in upgrading to unique. Is that right?
Yeah. So for the Damien shop, it's just shoulder, and then for the Lotus shop, it would be glove first, then shoe, then cape last.
Glove, shoe, and cape. Okay.
Yeah. Because the shoe, even though it has 15% luck, the base stats are horrible compared to an Abso shoe, and flame advantage of the Abso shoe will start coming in and just the flame on the Abzo shoe is probably already like 4 times the base stats on the Pencilier or something. So yeah,
Right.
just
Because
completely.
I don't even have like the Pencilier set, which is actually like pretty bad, right? The bonus set for like.
Yeah, I mean they added the damage to normal monsters, so you can
Right.
kind of like get away with wearing it until like level 160 or something. But past that, yeah, just the flames and everything start getting so good.
Absolute gear. Do you just tier it up to unique as well?
Initially, probably, yeah, just unique. You try to get like 2 useful lines, kind of like how you treat your Katara, right? Because it's in like the same tier.
Right.
And
But would it be okay to tier up to legendary?
yeah, well, so yeah, eventually, unless you hit like the 3-line on luck, for example, right, in unique, then you would keep that for a while. This all kind of cycles into like how far do you think you're gonna go with your character and with the account.
Right. I feel like well, if I were to set a goal, I feel like I want to be able to carry things. So probably carry CRA and like Damien Lotus is probably like my goal. Like not be able to struggle, but like just like to lead a carry. I feel like that'd be a lot more fun. I don't know, struggling is fine, but it's just like I don't know.
Yeah,
Helping others.
yeah, then
is
it'd
very
probably
much
be
fun.
good enough to just like 17 star and like 2 lines on legendary is probably good enough. So, and if you're just aiming for 17, then it means you can just safeguard on the item itself, and that takes into account like not needing a bunch of backups and not needing a bunch of extra weeklies done and all of that stuff. So that would impact your game plan, right? If you're trying to get like a lot further, then you need to involve different dailies in your routine to make sure that you buy backups, so that when the time comes, you have the money and the backups, so you can power through getting to your goal. So in your situation, you're just doing the weeklies just enough to be able to buy all the items one time, right? So 2 coins per item. What is it? 20 drops per coin. So like 40. At least for now, 40 Damien ones, but eventually like another 100 for your real weapon.
Right.
And then 60 Lotus ones, and then you need 6 Lotus drops and 7 Damien drops. And then once you have those, you can just like cross them off the list and start focusing on the next thing, basically.
Okay. And so so I'm just looking at Absolab set. And then so you said after shoulder goes, the belt can go too, because after it loses its set bonus, it's like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you basically you want to upgrade to the event rings, because they're just way better.
Right.
And to compensate for the set loss, you switch to the belt instead. And because the belt also has flame advantage, that takes you're basically upgrading 2 items at once by switching out both of them.
Yeah, so at first I was prepping to like find like permanent replacements for Golux, because I know that like when I came back, apparently it became like really, really hard to do. But ever since they made like Golux instance, I feel like there's actually like very likely chance I keep playing I can get like full superior set. So we're now back on track and doing that, I feel.
It's still going to take long, right? Because even if you get
Right.
the 2 drops, you still need to buy 2 items. They're 700 coin each, which is so 1400 together. You get at best like 30 coins per run, so that's like 20. So it's like what, like 46 runs. So even if you do every single day, that's a month and a half of running every single day and clearing every single day with no fails.
Okay.
So it's still a pretty long process. If you do, you'll get the earrings, 1 pendant, the ring, and then the belt. Those will be the ones that you aim for, but that is contingent on getting those 2 drops, though, right? Which already have a pretty low drop rate as well. So that's going to be a project of months. But yeah, as you do that, you start rolling out of the boss accessory set completely, and the only thing that will be left is like the Crystal Ventus badge and the Pink Holy Cup, and then maybe 1 other piece to keep the 3 set bonus going. But that's not even necessary at that point. Like having any set bonus or none there is kind of trivial.
Currently, I'm working on the 15-star scroll, like the Rise Spec coin fountain thing. I heard a lot of people telling me to use it on the Kana ring since it's irreplaceable. Would you say that that's a fair move to do?
Yeah, you would use it on the highest level item that you have no backups for, technically. That's how you get the most value out of it.
Got you.
Yeah, so that probably would be the kind of treasure ring, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, and talking about like the SS ring. So I don't grind a lot on other accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my Rise coins is from like the 300 from I grind out my dailies, and when I do my dailies, I get my coins as well. So
Yeah.
I get like 300, and I can get about like 82 on like the what's it called, the Rise tournament
Yeah.
thingy-majiggy.
Yeah.
And so that's, like,
The
330,
Battlefield of
330.
Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, the very honor, dude.
Mhm.
Big honor. But yeah, and I get my other, I think it's 20 or 30 from the Maple Relay, right?
30. Yeah.
30? Okay, so it's like 110, 112. 412?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I get about 412 coins a day.
Mm-hmm.
I spent it on some use. I spent it on the mount, and I've spent it on the Android so far. That's how I got the heart. And then I
Mhm.
found out like it's only level 30, so it's probably not very good to invest anything into it.
Maybe.
Because I know that there's like a level 100 heart,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah,
is it
the
coming
winter
back like next few events? I heard something like that.
The KMS got it from a summer event, so it's highly likely going to be part of our next winter event.
Okay, so would I want, like, I heard it's like you need like 2 billion mesos or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 2 bill. Yeah.
So is it smart to invest, like, save up for that
Yeah.
for the next event? Okay.
Yeah, you
And
want to save
then,
up for
let's
that.
see.
But if you keep going the way that you're going, by the time you get there, like 6 months from now, every single upgrade you're going to be doing is going to be like in the 9, 10, and like in the 11-figure range, basically. So you're always basically going to just have 2 bill lying around.
Right. Okay.
It seems like a lot of money now to just like have like somewhere in your back pocket,
mean,
but at that point you'll
yeah.
just
2 bill. I don't know. All the money, like, I don't know, 2 bill, it disappears really fast. I've seen it happen.
Well,
Like, I think
so
at most I've gotten like 1.7 bill, but even then, it just like all disappeared.
well,
Once you got the cube.
that really depends on what kind of spender you are. Whether you
Yeah.
upgrade because you can or upgrade it because you need to. Because you
Most times it's like can.
Yeah, because you can always, right? So you can always
Yeah.
spend. The problem is though, once the upgrades get more and more expensive, if there
Right.
is an opportunity to really get more value out of your money, the more money you have saved up at that point, the bigger the return you get, and the further you eventually get with the same amount of money. And it does require a term of patience of like looking at your money and not being like, ooh, I could buy some cubes with this, and actually doing that.
True.
But eventually,
Actually,
I think you'll get kind of like spooked off by how many times you need to roll and how shitty the outcomes are, that you'll be like, okay, I want to cube, but it's a bad idea, so I probably shouldn't. Like, hopefully that gets instilled with you a little bit based on like failures and.
I feel like that has not happened enough for me to do
No,
so.
you
Like,
just have to get to a
uniques
point.
and these legendaries have been happening like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like legendaries have been happening within like 300 to 500 million,
Mm-hmm.
and these unique, most of the unique is from like Master Craftsman.
Yeah.
So I've been living like the high life of like, you know, when you like invest in like the stock market, and it's just like it's just all like
Actually
all
working. Yeah.
pluses. Yeah. But I've had a very bad time with star enforcement though, so that's probably something that is
Yep.
gonna be my, like,
It always balances out somewhere else. I'm like the
Yeah.
opposite. Starforce for me is pretty damn lucky across the board, but
Yeah,
my cubing is typically pretty below average. Yeah.
So I actually like stay pretty far away from, like, if you look at all my gear, the highest is like 12 because I know my Star Force luck is absolute shit. So knowing that something's probably gonna blow up as well.
Probably,
So
yeah. You
I'm like,
wanna
yo, I've
avoid
been
that.
living a good life on the cubes. I don't know if I want to mess with this Star Force shit.
Well, eventually getting to 17 is just a huge boost. So in order to get there, you want to get to 15 at some point. But yeah, so that's another thing in the progression tab, right? You can look at so it also has like the total amount of Star Force. So if you look at that, like you're aiming to be like around 200, you'll probably be quite below that, I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah, everything's like 10 or 11.
Oh no, you're actually at
or
206. You're actually at that point.
12. Oh shit, am I?
Okay, no, you're actually on it. Okay. That means that's because you have only one event ring, right? So that's only one item missing. Missing
Everything's
Star Force and only
like, at least
one
10.
Tyrant item, and you have the heart slot filled, which most people don't do at this level. Nope. So with all of that, even with all of that taken into account, you're roughly where you want to be now. But you do see the increase though for Star Force, like jumps quite a bit, like within this stage of the game. And a lot of this increase here for main stat, a lot of this comes from arcane power.
Right.
And some of it comes from the stats that you gain from star forcing, of course. But main stat is basically the jump from getting everything epic 9% to legendary 21 and 23%, basically.
Okay.
And then star force wise is getting everything from 12 to 17, all the items across the board. But yeah, so that's always a 30% item, 30% sale to 15, and then 5, 10, 15 to get from 15 to 17. And you're going to be safeguarding everything, right? Because you're not going to go for like a shit ton of backups, because your ultimate goal kind of is to be at that 17 slot.
Right.
So that means
so
that
safeguard from like 12 and up, right?
yeah, 12 and up, yeah. So that does mean that it's going to be expensive to Star Force, but like comparatively, but you're going to be able to do it in a shorter amount of time. But that does mean that there has to be some funding there to propel that.
Okay, so for most of my gear, taking priority.
Oh yeah, so so just to recap, so flame wise, I think the things that you need to focus the most on
weapon
is
first, and then highest level item with flame advantage, right?
yes. So after weapon, which items do you think that would be? Like which ones have the worst flames that are the highest level items that you have?
Probably my CRA gear, to be honest. Yeah, I think CRA. Because that's like the most newest, I guess, equipment that I've been getting. Everything else has been sitting there for quite a long time.
That's the permanent CRA that you're wearing?
Yeah, 3 of them are the permanent. It's just the weapon is not permanent. I've been able to replace 3 of them at least. Because soloing it gave me like more than enough shards to upgrade into permanent. It's
so,
just
yeah, CRA, and then after that?
After that, probably Absolab, I think.
Well,
I don't think anything else is high level.
So Absolab wise, the first thing you would get is the glove, right? Once you're like killing Lotus, so that might still be
shoulder glove.
Well, shoulder can't be flamed. It's
Oh, shoulder can't. Oh, right. Shoulder, right. So glove. Okay. Yeah, cause right now I'm gonna get the 15-star scroll, and then after that I'm gonna get the. I'm gonna try to get 5,000 coins for like the 45 Eternal Flame. So I need knowing which one's the flame first is like pretty important. I feel like.
Yeah. So after a CRA, I'd probably say you could throw some at the Tyrant Cape. There's definitely some gains to be made there, and then the Pink Holy Cup is also a good candidate, right? Cup. Flame advantage level 140. That's also high level up. And then all of the Abso stuff will come into play, and then your Fake Zolab weapon as well. Whenever that comes into play, good flame on there. Those will be like your most important things. Highest level items with flame advantage. Yeah.
Okay. And equipment cubing right now.
Yeah. So top and
everything's
bottom.
Pretty decent. Yeah. Except my top and bottom could be unique.
Yeah, could be unique, and then just aim for at least double line luck. And if you're lucky for 3, which you seem to be, then you aim for that. Apart from that, one of the things that people aim for a lot is to increase their accessories to legendary, to try to go for like combinations of a drop and meso obtain with some stat. That way you don't really lose out on stat there, but you gain a lot more money when you're training, or a lot more nodes while you're training. That could be a sidetrack for you if that's not necessarily what you're aiming for, or that could help you get there faster.
I don't know. I feel like, would it be worth it if you weren't playing a Kana though? Because as a dual blade, you're clearing, your mobbing is like kind of doo-doo for the most part. If you can't one-shot the mobs with like, because I can't one-shot mobs with Blade Fury.
If you feel that proportionately to your income, the income that you get from training on your character is just a very, very low part, then it wouldn't be worth it. But if you compare to, you know, if you do Ursus and you just do 2 runs of Maple Tour, and like all of your boss crystals together is like maybe like 300 mil a week, and you actually train quite a lot a week, then in your total it could represent a decent chunk of your income, and just basically doubling that with the Mesoptane gear could actually put you at the point where you start, just accumulating funds faster.
I think I grind like pretty like it's on and off. I either grind like
do you finish your
like only do dailies like every day and just do like boss, or I end up grinding for like 10 hours straight. It's really on and off.
Kind of like me.
I choose my times depending on do I have like EXP coupons and like Fury.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, when you
So
say every boss, do you just do the ones that have like 7 to 8 mil crystals every day? Like
no, I
like
do every
papillatas
single
and
one that I can do, like
oh,
from
okay.
Zakum all the way to like hard. What's it called?
Doesn't
Uh,
that mean you like run out of crystals to sell on like
I don't
Monday or
sell.
something?
I don't sell half of the crystals. I just throw them away. I
Oh, I
mostly
see.
do them for occult cubes, like I said.
Okay.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
them for the occult cubes. But yeah, no, yeah,
I mean,
most
yeah,
of
if
them
you
I
enjoy
throw away.
bossing, then that's what you gotta do. One thing you could consider, though, is doing some extra bosses on another character instead, because every single
Oh yeah,
character has its own crystal limit. So you could sell the
right.
crystals then on the other
Okay,
character.
interesting.
Because then you
The other
can
thing
still
I
get the
would was like
occults.
then I have to focus on like gear. I got something next one's like my wind archer was 180, but he has
Mm-hmm.
like a range of like 200,000. So like chaos horntail he can do. I think that's like the limit of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos horntail, normal healer. So and it actually takes time though. So it's like it
Yep.
takes like 2 minutes or 1 minute to do. While like for my dual blade, you just like press a single button and everything
Yep.
disappears.
I mean, like, yeah, bossing, even if it's more fun to you, at a certain point, it's almost longer to like travel to the boss and loot the drops than to actually do the boss. And
Yeah.
at that point, if you're training, you'll end up just making more money than the boss crystal, especially if you're just throwing the boss crystal away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in like lock, but like a lot of times when I train, I'm usually sitting on one platform
Mm-hmm.
because mostly relying on like blade tornado and also the other I don't know what the other blade tempest. Is
Yeah, yeah. Blade
that the one?
Tempest.
No,
You
or
just cycle
what's the one that
between. Yeah, I don't
yeah
know what
what's the
it's
one that clears the
called.
whole like whole
Blade.
map like 3 times?
Is it Blade Fury or I don't know what
Yeah.
this is called. It looks like a guy with a
Yeah, it's
mustache.
like the X, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that like it hits 3 times. So if you're moving while you press it, it legit just clears the whole entire map.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty good.
that's the most of the time I'm relying on, and then
Mm-hmm.
I do what's it called? Shit, I'm forgetting the spells, but like is it Blade Fury? But yeah, I'm mostly like I'm using that another time. So most times I can't one shot. So like by the time I do get like a decent amount of mobs, like the cooldown abilities are already up. So I'm mostly using
Mm-hmm.
those to like
You just cycle
kill them
between
all.
those. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times I don't touch other platforms. So and I'm too lazy to run up there and just to loot stuff because I feel like it's like minimum. It's like I feel like I should, but then I feel like I'm losing out on XP. So then it's just like I don't, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know because I don't actually
Yeah, I
know how
usually
much
go
mesos
for
I'm getting from these maps.
yeah,
So
exactly. I would just go for maps where you rotate kind of naturally.
hmm
And I mean, for me, it always just starts itching. If I see a platform with a lot of bags on it, it just itches for me to
oh
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
walk over it real quick and be like, oh, "That's a lot of bags. I want those." Yeah.
yeah. Eventually I do that, but it's like I don't think I do it like consistently because
Some people
things
set an
like disappear after
alarm.
like 3 minutes maybe.
Some people do
Yeah.
like a beep, and then every like 1 hour and 45, every 1 minute and 45 seconds or something, it beeps because like you have 2 minute timer on the bags, right?
hmm
And then just like whenever it beeps, then you just start looting, or yeah,
Right.
every 2 minutes. But then you just lose a little bit of bags in the beginning.
Yeah. I
Um,
think the main thing for me is like Maple Story is like a background game where
mm,
it's just like pretty much played with like muscle memory at a certain point. So
I
a lot of
see.
times like I'm not actually like focusing on the game. I'm like watching like a TV show or like doing like work or some shit like that on the side.
Hmm.
Like that's like the main reason why I still see myself playing this game for like a while.
I
Because
see.
unlike playing like Valorant or like League of Legends, that's like something you actually have to focus on. While Maple Story is just like
I mean, unless
you
you're trying to
listen to the
throw,
song.
unless you're trying to feed, you can do that very easily. But
Yeah, exactly. But like with double screens, like the reason I can grind like 10 hours in a row, like pretty easily, is just like I'm always doing something else on the other side.
hmm
So it's like, yeah, I don't think most times I'm very efficient with either clearing or getting my meso bags. But
I see.
I put a lot of time in if I need to, if
Hmm.
I have to, or some shit like that.
Your matrix is you know what to do there, right? Because I see from your boost nodes, you pretty much have like.
Boost nodes, I know what to do, but in terms of active spells, like I'm not sure which ones like gives the most damage in terms of like holy like the decent skill like the decent skills because I don't have any of them on my like equipment, right?
Yeah. No, that's
Should I
normal.
just
Yeah.
forego a speed infusion and just get another boost node, or would you say that I should include something else like combat orders or like sharp eyes?
If you're
I don't know which one is the
mobbing,
one that maximizes my damage.
if you're mobbing, you can let go of Tempest. I think it's called, right? Because you never use that when you're mobbing, right? Doesn't make sense. Kind of like just like locks you in place. Is this Blade Tempest? Is that what that's called? This one?
Blade Tempest? Yeah, actually, no, I don't use that. Actually, now that you speak of it, yeah, I don't use it much while mobbing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So you could replace that one with an extra boost node. If you're mobbing, and then while bossing, you definitely want to use it, and then you just switch it out. Other than that, I think you have pretty much the setup that you want. You could argue.
So speed infusion's like a pretty good one to have.
Yeah. It just maximizes your attack speed if you combine it with the green pot from Monster Park.
Okay.
I guess that's just the one thing I wanted to reiterate. Like what I would think is like the most important dailies is Monster Park and just your arcane symbol dailies, like all of them. Remember that the more areas you unlock, the more you can speed up the previous area ones.
Right, because
so as you unlock
minimize the quests that you have to do.
Yeah, and then you can auto-complete the extra ones. That's a lot of the value of leveling up. Those I would say is like, if you don't have much time to do anything on the day, like doing those two is the most important, because those are 100% just time-gated daily limit.
Right. Okay.
And then after that,
I've been slacking on my Monster Park. But,
yeah, I did for a long time as well, but I did for a while, but I kind of like got on the grind of doing it every day. And then now, if I miss a day, it's not too bad. But if you already have the habit of slacking, and then you want something, and then you don't have the resources, then it kind of sucks, right?
Basically, I live by a motto of aim for mediocrity. So you just tell me what is the mediocre of like what I need to do, and I'll do it. I didn't know that Monster Park was that important, but I'll add that to the list.
It's
solo voyages, right? So CPQ, and it's just like I was like
Well, you're aiming for 17 star stuff, so like building for backups for your accessories isn't really necessary for you. So just even doing CPQ and like solo voyages, I would even be able to take that off your list completely for now until you're planning on really pushing further. The one other thing that I think is very important is just doing a little bit of Legion every day, just a little bit. So you asked about it before. So your Legion total level is the total level of all of your characters in your account that is at least level 60. And the 40 highest level characters, their levels combined, that are at least level 60, that's your total level.
Interesting. Okay.
So the highest 40 characters will count, provided that they're at least 60. So with every character that you make now that at least reaches level 60, immediately your level will go up by 60. Or more, of course, if you level it further. So making like one level 60, level 70 character a day will just make your Legion boom like nothing in the beginning. Like, it'll be insane. And then as long as have you seen my links command with all the links and the Legion buffs of all the characters?
Yeah. I think I need to aim for right now. Like the top tier one I'm probably needing is Mercedes. The two that I made based off your list, I think, was Mechanic. Actually, no, I think that's the only one. Mechanic, and then I leveled, since I already had like a 110 character of like, my Aaron was like 134, so I got that to 140, and then I got my Wild Hunter to also 140. I think that's what I did in recent days. Yeah,
as long as you're aware of like those thresholds, right? Like 60 to enter, 70 for the Link, 100 for higher Legion, 120 for the level 2 Link, and then 140 for the higher Legion. And then basically at 140 there's a gap until 200, so that's why 140 is kind of like the sweet spot where people leave their characters. Just making one character a day and just like getting some levels on it, even if it's just like 50 or 60, will just increase your Legion by a whole lot. And then once you get to 2,000, you'll be able to expand your grid by a little bit. 3,000 again, 4, 5, 6, and then at 6,000 you'll have the whole grid available. And then you can start putting some of those pieces into critical damage and into boss damage. And that's when that big damage increase, and those are like critical damage and boss damage are going to be the most important things for you to fill up in your Legion once you're trying to do like Lotus and Damien more.
Okay. Got you. Okay, so let's see, what's the next thing?
And because that's the ones you're going for, like any of the Legion characters that have a member bonus of critical damage and boss damage are very high priority as well, right? So for critical damage, you have so you have the Kinesis Link for the Link skill, and then for the member bonus, you have the Jet, the Hayato, and the Shade. And then for boss damage, I think it's the Demon Avenger and the Beast Tamer, if I'm not mistaken. Those will just, and then of course the Link skill for Demon Slayer. Like those characters, if you get those at least to 140, those will already increase your damage by so much. But then especially unlocking that grid, right, and then leveling it up. And then once you have a bigger grid available, you'll start rearranging your pieces and everything.
Right.
And then you'll prioritize critical damage, boss damage, and then a little bit of luck, a little bit of attack, basically.
Okay. Would you say that Mercedes right now is like the most important thing to do, so I can speed up everything else?
Yeah. So at this point, Mercedes is not so much anymore to really speed up the leveling of your Blade Master, but more to speed up the leveling of your entire Legion, which will then in turn level up your Blade Master faster because you have all of those side things done, basically. Yeah. It's a very like core necessary link skill, I would say.
Because it was on accident, but I have an Aaron and Evan, which is like Rune Duration, Orb XP, right? And so if I get a Mercedes, then I can maximize the XP that I'm getting.
Yeah, you get your trifecta then, yeah.
Alright, okay. And then after I get a Mercedes, what would you think is like the most important to boost my main? Would you say like
the critical damage? The critical damage ones.
Critical damage, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I see most of the critical damage ones are link skills.
Yeah.
Not link skills. No, Legion.
Yeah, Kinesis is the link skill, and the rest is the Legion characters. Yeah, Hayato, Shade Jet. Yeah.
Right. Would you say that for Legion getting to, is it one? What is it? 120? Okay, yeah. So
120 would be for the level 2 link skill, and then 140 would be for the.
It's fine for most of these.
Yeah, so what I typically do is I level it to 100, and then I just do Zakum and Monster Park up to from 100 to 140. Like the only thing I do is just log in, Zakum, Monster Park, log out. And then with the other characters at level 100, just log in, Zakum, log out. Because it's just the most condensed experience you can get in a short amount of time. But if you do that on a lot of characters at once, then it's like you're training at like 400% experience on one character all the time, but you're just dividing that level of progress among a bunch of different characters instead.
Okay.
But in the end, it all comes back together in Legion level increase. Until they're 140.
Equipment-wise, you're just working on whatever you're getting from like monster drops.
Yeah, you don't really give a fuck. Yeah, maybe there's like an event item every now and then, but like you just focus primarily on just whatever drops from the boss. You use like the poisonic weapon from Zakum and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so critical damage first, and then looking for like boss damage, right?
Yeah, damage and boss damage. Yeah. ID you can kind of skip. The immunity will probably be nice, right? The resistance link that you had with Mechanic that can stack together under the same slot. That'll help you for bosses, CRA, and up. Just like whenever you die, that you're just immune to damage for a longer while, so you don't get.
I mean, I have like 4 seconds right now. I think that's pretty decent. I think.
That's pretty good.
Both Mechanic and Wild Hunter.
Yeah.
At 140.
I can go up to 8, which is even nicer. But yeah, sure, it is pretty good. Yeah. And then it's just regular damage percentage, probably like things like Kadena, Arc. Possibly Angelic Buster, Demon Avenger, Kana, basically all of those. And after that, it's possibly the other thieves, right? To stack into your existing Thief Link skill. And then probably just everything that gives you luck and attack after that.
Okay. So that covers the Link skill in Legion, I think.
Yeah, if you think that's...
yeah, that all makes pretty much so... To recap, critical damage, then boss damage, then thief skill, or thief. Right.
Yeah, and regular percentage damage as well. But like I said, like boss damage and percentage damage, that kind of goes into the same.
I think same priority as boss damage.
Yeah, well, there's very few sources of boss damage. It's, what is it? It's like the. It's the Beast Tamer and the Adele is not big enough number, so that one doesn't really come into play here. So it's the Beast Tamer, and then it's Demon Avenger and Kana Legion, and then it's a Demon Slayer Link, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a few classes there that hit 2 things that you want, so those are going to be your highest priorities, right? Because if they give 2 things that you need, then that's like way up there. And then as you get more access to more characters, you'll be able to min-max your Legion, your links more to be like in a mobbing setting or in a bossing setting.
Okay, so I want to get to level 60, and then for everything. Well, just get to level 60. Like,
yeah, you can make a bunch of level 60s just to boost your Legion up.
Right.
You probably want to aim for 3,000 Legion in total.
Okay.
So
and
that
then
you...
I want to get everything to 100, and then just do Monster Park and Zakum.
Yep. That's what I would do.
Is Monster Park per character?
No, that's per count. So one character can do like the Monster Park fast pace, and then the other ones have to just Zakum every day, basically.
Okay.
But you'll have a bunch of Zakum crystals. You'll probably get some occults, maybe get some extra Master Craftsmen. You also provide your characters with Iron Face accessories. So you'll get some Star Force from that. And as you build that up, you'll build more Legion raid power. And then as you build more Legion raid power, you get more coins to afford the upgrades for your Legion, and to be able to buy the buffs, the Legion buffs for your main when you're training.
Right. And for right now, luck is their main size. Gives you a lot more stats than attack. Is that right? For like the placing of like the Tetris blocks.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, luck becomes more valuable than attack. But once you start unlocking the outer grids, then critical damage and boss damage become way more important. So the main priority will just be like making a flat line between critical damage and boss damage to have like minimum spillage, and then just filling those up first. But you probably want to wait until you hit like 3k, until you have 2 hexes there. Otherwise, it's kind of weird to move like all the way to the edge just to fill those long 6 pieces, and you won't have that many long pieces, so you'll have a bunch of spillover.
Okay.
So it'd probably be better to wait until you have 3,000 Legion to really start rearranging all your pieces.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Let's see. So I think that covers Link skill and Legion, right? Is there anything else that I need to know?
Not really. I think because of what you're aiming for, I don't think we have to go into the inner ability too much. I would just say save up honor experience in case you ever want to be able to push beyond what you have now.
I think I would, though. I don't think I need the 50% buff skill.
No, you don't need it.
That only
no.
applies to Final Cut, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it applies to the other small buffs, but it doesn't really impact those in any significant way, yeah.
I mean, I actually find it more annoying now that I have like high buff skill duration, because then my buffs that aren't on cooldown, they used to be 3 minutes, which is like exact timing with the decent skills. But now it's just like 5 minutes, while the decent skills like 3 minutes, so it's not in line. So I'm like, that's like, that's so annoying.
One of the good things actually about that desyncing is that if you're not doing like lazy standing in one point of the map, but actually rotating over a map, is that a lot of times you'll have like a place where you fall, or where you're like dropping into either a platform, or you're dropping into the river in Arcana, and you can use that time to refresh your buffs one at a time in every rotation, so that you never really have one time where you're just like rebuffing like 18 skills and then doing your 3-minute rotation, but you're doing like one per rotation whenever it's necessary, and that way you actually don't slow your rotation down at all, and that kind of like speed up your rates.
That is true.
So in that sense, it's actually better to desync them. So if you later in the game, if you're using like 6 decent skills, you want to use like 1, and then 2 map rotations, you want to use another one, and then you want to introduce them like gradually, so that you can refresh them gradually as well. For boss fights, it's a bit harder if you have to like, okay, I'm going to be bursting. Okay, let me refresh my 14 buff skills, and then my 3 setups, and then my 14 hypers, and then the bind's already over. Fuck. Like, yeah.
For the, I think Holy Symbol, when bossing, is it better to get like a boost node, or is it better? Because I don't think any of the other boost nodes are like really high level. I think level 3 is probably like the most for my boost nodes. Let me look at it really quick.
Your skill nodes, you mean?
I mean, yeah, skill nodes.
Yeah, so skill nodes, main priority is if the cooldown or the uptime of the skill gets changed with leveling. That means it's a priority. For you, they already have low cooldowns, and they have I'm pretty sure their uptimes and their cooldowns stay exactly the same. So your priority would just be your boost node still until you probably get like past level 20 or something. And then you can start, once everything is like over level 40 boosted together, then you can start thinking about, because, well, you might have, no, you have it in 2 boost nodes, right? So your highest is like 26 or something right now. Something like that. So once you go like past 40, and the reduced efficiency of boost nodes also starts kicking in for those last 5 levels, you probably want to evenly distribute it between your 2 big hypers that you use all the time, because even though your blade storm or whatever the fuck this thing is called, it does a lot of damage in like a short duration. The other ones are just all up all the time, and that ends up adding up to like a lot of damage together.
Right. For like when I'm bossing, do I need Holy Symbol, or is it better to switch out for something else?
Typically what people do is use a boost node, and then at the end, right before you kill the boss, you want to get the extra drop, you can switch Holy Symbol with one of your boost nodes, because those won't go on cooldown, so you'll always be able to switch, and then reapply at the end for a little bit of drop rate is the thing you can do,
Yeah, that sounds really smart to do, actually. Okay. And let's see, so inner ability. You wouldn't say I need a roll for anything else for inner ability?
So eventually I think you go for, what is it, attack, and then I think people go for crit rate, don't they? Even though it's a little counterintuitive. Oh, cooldown skip. Oh yeah, buff duration, and then cooldown skip or attack. The main reason that cooldown buff duration is still really good is that because you have a higher uptime now on your final cut, it allows you a little bit more flexibility to actually rely on your final cut as an iframe as well.
Oh, right. That's true. Okay. So
that gives you the extra survivability even on top of only being able to use chains. So you still... What you would roll to is still like 38% buff duration, but then on your second or your third line, and then trying to get boss on your main line. So I think until you're planning on really getting serious with your inner ability, just sticking to 50% for now is good enough for sure.
I think saving up and then doing it on an event is probably smart, right?
Yeah, well, so you want to save up honor experience probably until you have like probably like 2 mil or something.
2 mil, okay. So I'm gonna lock the legendary pot, right, and then.
You're gonna what? Oh, lock. Yeah, so what you probably would do is use circulators, which automatically locks your pot because it can go down until you hit like a 38% in either your second or your third line. And then once you hit that, you lock that line, and then you also have to lock your pot, and then roll with honor experience during a 50% off to get the boss damage on the top line. That'll be the process. And then you can like Hail Mary something on the third line, but the third line is probably always going to stay trash, most likely.
Okay.
But until you get to that point, this is fine.
You lock the second line or no?
Yeah, so you use the circulator. You use the circulator to get 38% on the second or third, because those lines have way more variance. But the 38 is still really, really good, and then the 38 plus 20% boss would be way better than what you have now. So, but you wouldn't use circulators once you already hit your 38, because then you just roll over that again, right? That wouldn't make sense. So you circulate until you hit 38, which will probably be on a second line, but it could be on a third as well. It's kind of like the same way with cubes, right? You have like a certain percent chance to get a higher line, but the standard chance for legendary inner ability is that your second and your third is most likely going to be an epic line, not a unique line. It's a pretty low chance, so that's why you need to circulate. And then once you hit that 38 on a second or third line, then you wait for the event that's coming up, like the one that's coming up this Sunday, and then you lock that 38 and your tier, and then you try to aim for boss damage on the top line.
Lock. Okay, that makes sense. So lock legendary pot and lock the like second or third line, whatever has a 38% buff duration. Go for
exactly. If you lock that line and you try to roll, it's gonna say like you have to lock the tier as well. It'll automatically pop that up. Yeah. Right. And then if you hit the boss damage, what you could do is lock both the 38 and the boss damage, and then just finish up your points. At that point, I think even at 50% off, the rolls are like 15k each or something. So you just blow through your honor experience super quick. Just like 30 rolls is already like 500,000. Yeah. And maybe you'll hit like 20 luck or something on there, or you get super lucky and you hit one of those other ones, right? So if you can hit attack or cooldown skip or critical rate, all of those would be very useful. But I mean, just to give you from my personal experience, I've rolled 8 million worth of honor experience during 50% off on 2 characters combined with locking 2 skills to try to get any kind of crit rate on a third line, and I haven't seen a single line in 8 million.
Wow.
So
okay.
So you don't really count on that. You hope for the best when you plan for the worst.
What's the best way to get honor, by the way? Is it just bossing and...
Yeah, bossing, mobbing with some drop rate, right? Because they drop the medals. Dojo once a week, and then with the dojo points, you can buy extra honor experience from the shop, and event stores and boxes from event stores. Those are your best sources.
You have like A command for daily. Do you have a command for weeklies, or is that in the same?
They're in the same thing. Yeah, weeklies and dailies are in the same one. Yeah.
Okay. What important weeklies would you say to look out for? So Dojo, Damien, Lotus, what's it called? What's it called? The token quests, I guess. And then like just all like the bosses, right?
Token quests.
Is there anything else to look for during weeklies? That's like really, really important. That's like minimal.
Well, usually I just go by the. You just check the. You go by the level tab, and then you just select your level, and then you just kind of go down the list, and those are like all the viable ones.
Oh shit! I didn't even see that tab. Okay.
Yeah, people miss the tab. I moved it around like this because I feel like it makes more sense to not have everything on one page, but people tend to move it. So I have to think about something for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the ones that are like optional, and then you just pick whichever ones you like and don't like. Like regular Root Abyss, like you can do that, but it's not super necessary, right? Which ones are here? Like the Voyages and Commercy, like you're not aiming for that. Boom, you skip those. Ursus, you do that once a day on your highest level character. Done. Gollux, you do whichever difficulty you can with your party. Whichever ones are here? Pink Bean, Normal Magnus. Like Pink Bean, I don't think is. I think that one, yeah, you could do that for extra cups, but that's like optional. Normal Magnus, I think, is useful for the soul shards, right? Magnificent Soul event this Sunday. Hard Von Leon is probably here dipped, yeah. Legion Dailies just for the extra coins. Remaru because it has very high drop rate for flames. And then these weeklies, of course, only enough so that you have enough that you need. And then basically it's a bunch of symbol dailies and a bunch of bosses, but a lot of these are like normal arc for primals. Normal Cygnus is weekly, right? This is here. Yeah, just go by this list, I guess, as far as you can. Princess, no, I think is only if you're really going for the secondary. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth your time.
I mean,
really.
Dual Blade. Yeah. Dual Blade. Do you want to? Wait. Secondary. I have a katana, right?
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, you don't need it. Yeah. No, Princess No is more like if you want to get the crystal or if you want to help people out getting their secondary, basically.
Okay. Let's see.
And then yeah, most of these are weeklies, I think. Yeah, these are all weeklies. Chaos Paplatus, Hard Hela. And then normal Lotus, and then more dailies. Chaos Sakum, normal Damien, yeah.
SS ring. Okay, so you said the SS ring?
Yeah,
or
Master
like,
SS ring. Yeah.
That's like the I don't really know what to get in terms of like coin shop priority because one I need to donate enough to Fountain. Right now I'm like 3,000 away. No, like 3,000 in, so I need another 1,000 coins. But then I'm going to need like another 5,000 coin investment, right?
Yeah, for the other box. Yeah, that's probably going to be capping on multiple characters. So the ring is RNG, so it's a little bit shitty.
Right.
But you can buy 30 boxes a day. And you just get jewels from that, and then you fuse the jewels into the higher tiers until you get S tier, and then you buy those little ring fittings in the shop and fuse those with an S tier to make one S ring, and then you have to make 4 of those S rings.
Okay, so I need 4 what's it called? Pretty much 4 molds, and then get like fuse until I got 4 rank S jewels.
Yeah, and then the S, fuse the S with the jewel, and then once you have the 4 S rings, you give those to the bunny, and then he will charge you, I think, like 20 mil or something, and then he turns them into the Master SS ring for you.
Okay, dope. So that's okay. So do I?
So most people get that in like 4 to 5. Like the average is like 124 boxes or something. We calculated. So like that should be like 4 to 5 days if you're maxing out. But if you're unlucky, you could take up to 6. Some people get it in 1 or 2 days. So.
Okay. So the thing is, like, I donate to the Fountain. That's like almost all my coins. So I need to be farming on another character.
Yeah, you need to get another character in there. Yeah, the boxes also are transferable within account though, so you can buy them on any character and then transfer them over.
Would you say like the what's it called? The Fountain donations are more important, or like the Mastering SS?
I would say the Mastering is more important. Yeah, I would prioritize that one for now, and it's only like a week more, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like hyper unlucky, you might not. You might get into trouble with it, but you should be able to get it in like 4 to 5 days. Yeah, it should be definitely doable. I've been getting it on a bunch of characters, and most characters getting it in like one character took 5 days, and most of the other ones took like 3 to 4 days.
Okay. Wait, is the ring itself transferable?
No. The ring isn't. No.
Okay.
It's just like every. It's just like every equip, right? In Reboot, all untransferable. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So I'll probably roll for the ring on my main, and then just like while doing oh, actually, when can you start doing the event? Do you know? There's like a level limit.
101.
101. Okay, so. Ooh, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of a puzzle for you to solve there with the points.
Yeah. Okay, and also, I think the one should I invest in a Sweetwater ring? Is that something I should invest in?
That does not exist, so no.
Wait, no, not ring. Sweetwater earring. Sorry.
Oh, earring. No, you just keep this until you get into superior Gollux territory.
Okay. And Sweetwater pendant.
Yeah, so that's the
Yeah.
option to transpose your Dominator into the Sweetwater Pendant, and that's something like after you have actually already 17, you're like full
17 everything.
superior,
Okay.
you have 2 or 3 lines of luck already, and then you start thinking about transposing, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's like far, far down the road. Oh yeah, the other thing you could flame, by the way, is like the Dominator Pendant. That's like close on the list as well, right? Also 140.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that's everything, right?
I think so. Yeah.